Welcome to episode 11 of Generation Viewpoint. Evan, so good to see you once again, sir.
Hello.
I saw you no, I didn't see you this morning. I saw you yesterday, so it was good to see you this evening, though, again, right? Because we are in the evening now, I think.
We are.
Yes, so I'm very excited about this episode today. We've got a lot of great topics to come. One of the big ones is about entrepreneurship and distractions, and so we've invited a great guest again.
Yeah.
Right? So why don't we introduce our guest? Today, sitting with us is Jamie Stuenzi. Jamie, thank you for joining us.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
Awesome. We're very excited. Jamie, you've got a long history of entrepreneurship, and you're the owner of Solid Rock IT, which is where our studio is. Thank you again for the space.
Anytime.
And one of the founders of Agritourism Ideas and many other projects that you have going right now. I mean, it's pretty exciting watching your wheels spin and trying so many different things. It's very inspiring to both Evan and I, so that's why we thought you'd be great for this show.
Good. Sounds like fun.
So Jamie, outside of all the projects that he has, is also married and has, man, you got a lot of kids. You got 6 children?
Last time I counted 6.
4 girls, 2 boys, right?
That's correct.
So I have to ask you, since like Evan and I are here, father-son, have you noticed anything dramatically different between raising your girls, who are now older teenagers, and raising your boys, who are still younger?
Yes. Definitely. The girls were a little more drama-filled, but the conversations with my junior high boys are definitely all boys, all about body odors and things like that.
I love it.
So definitely differences for sure.
Yeah. Evan, write that down for a show note that you and I need to talk about body odors at some point.
No, thanks.
Well, father-son, like we should be able to do that.
I'm good.
I got
you. can talk to Zach or Bryce about that.
About body odors?
I'm good.
Maybe I'll ask your sister and see if we can really mix
She'll
it up.
tell you you're gross.
So a question that I thought of before we jump into our main topics, and here's a question for you, okay? Etiquette when you're using the Keurig coffee machine. Okay, when you make a cup of coffee in the Keurig, all right, this is what made me think about it. So let me tell you what made me think about this. When I was younger, I played darts. Okay. In New York, when you play darts, you never pull your own darts off the board ever. The next player pulls them because if you pull them, they think you were cheating. In Pennsylvania, you throw your own darts, and then you pull your own darts out of courtesy and hand them to the next player. And if you don't do that, they get upset at you, thinking that you're rude. Right? So I'm asking, when it comes to Keurig, you make a cup of coffee. Are you supposed to pull your own K-cup, or is the next person responsible for that duty?
First of all, is it Keurig or Keurig?
You know what? What would you like it to be today?
It's Keurig.
I don't know. I just wondering. As far as proper etiquette, my guess is that proper etiquette is probably to pull your own K-cup. I never do it.
Yeah.
Because I never think about it. But probably would be proper etiquette.
Ev, you think so too? Pull your own?
Yeah, I find it very annoying when I go to use one and the thing is still in there.
Gotcha.
Especially if it's those cups where you put your own grounds in.
Oh,
because I don't want to clean that. Clean it out yourself.
Pain. But that's why nobody pulls those, because they're such a pain to clean.
Yeah, I know.
Leave it for the next person. So awesome. Very cool. Well, I think you guys nailed it. I think you do have to pull your own. So, but why don't we jump right in? So our one of our big topics today is entrepreneurship. And Jamie, we wanted to ask you, I guess, and we could start with, you've got a long history in entrepreneurship. Why don't we start with going back? What was the first entrepreneurship adventure that you embarked on in your whole span of tries, or whatever you call them?
Well, other than your typical paper routes, which are kind of semi-entrepreneurship, I think the big one, first one that I did was, I think I was 7th grade, and I decided that there was a market at my school for gardener snakes.
I love it. Were you in a city or in a country?
I lived in the country. The school was in a decent-sized city.
Okay,
so you can understand the attraction.
Absolutely, yeah.
I see no attraction in that at all.
Okay.
So I think my total sales for the year ended up to be 3 before I got shut down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, you got shut down?
Yeah, the school frowned upon bringing live snakes into school. I don't know why, but but they did.
You should have said it was a science project.
That's what I should have said.
Yeah.
Actually, the thing that hurt me was that one of my friends I sold it to, it got loose in his house.
Oh, no.
And they finally found it. The cat had mangled it pretty much. But the mom called the school and ratted me out. Hey, my son bought a snake from his friend at school.
That's
What's
so
going
awesome.
on? So, yeah, that was the first venture into
Gotcha.
entrepreneurship.
I had a couple when I was younger, too. The only one that I ever got ratted out on, though, was my fireworks adventure in Pennsylvania, where they're illegal to do. I put together a whole bunch of orders of all my friends, placed them online, had it delivered to the house, and then my mother saw these big boxes on the front porch with Class C fireworks on them, called all my friends' parents, and I got in trouble. So, yeah, that didn't work well. But, hey, you got to try. So.
Got to try.
So let me ask, over the years, Evan and I, we talk about entrepreneurship all the time. Right? Evan's 17. He's going to be graduating high school this year, trying to figure out what he wants to do in life. Have you figured that out, by the way, since we asked in episode 2?
I have not.
Okay, just checking.
Even farther from what I think.
Further from?
Yes.
Okay, wait, is it farther or further?
Yes.
Okay, good. So go over the years of the things that you have done. Is there a theme of what it takes to be an entrepreneur, maybe to be successful for one, but even just to be, because you can be an entrepreneur a long time and make a living, which, is a success, not a breakout runaway success, right?
Yeah,
but what does it take to do that, do you think?
I think the biggest thing it takes is just courage. I mean, the willingness to fail and not care what other people think.
Yeah.
And just the desire to create. I think that's kind of my big motivating factor, is wanting not to just to be stagnant and going through life with and it's also probably a weakness. I tend to get distracted pretty easy with new ideas. I'm kind of like Freedom here.
Yeah. Yep. And Evan. I've been looking right at him because this is an ongoing conversation for us, right?
Yeah.
Of just wanting to do so many different things and having a hard time, reining it in and focusing it just on one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
So, well, that's fantastic. Do you think, so to be an entrepreneur, you've been doing that for over 20 years probably now of different projects?
Yes. Okay. I've only had a real job for a 5-year span. Other than that, it's always been self-employed in one manner or another in some sort of entrepreneurship.
Awesome. Did you see that over time, over the years, do you think it was easier to succeed as an entrepreneur back then, or is it easier now, or is it both difficult, or what do you see on that?
I think it's different. I think now, in some respects, it's easier because your market is much larger. Back in the late 90s, early 2000, my market was a lot more limited to who I knew in my area or who I could market to locally, where now with the internet and social media and everything else, it's become much easier to reach a broad audience.
Well, you look at what Evan and I are doing here with this podcast, right? Imagine trying to do this 20 years ago, Ev. We'd get arrested for having a ham radio and broadcasting on the or something like that. I mean, there's no way that we could even do this.
Yeah.
Technology has made things so easy, and I think you hit on something that's real big, and Evan and I talked about this, I think it was 2 episodes ago, about fear. And it's such a small word. It's only 4 letters, but it's such a strong word. And it can stop you from so many things. I can't remember the context that we were talking about it in that episode when it came up, but it doesn't really matter. But it stops so many of us, 1, from entrepreneurial ambitions, 2, from engaging in relationships. I think that's what we were talking about, right? Sometimes
I think so.
Standing out really exposes us,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a nervousness about that, I guess. So
Yeah.
I guess figuring out the keys to overcoming our personal fears then is what really can push us forward in achieving whatever it is that we want to achieve along the way.
Yep.
So your boys are, how old are your boys right now?
My boys are 12. They just turned 12 about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So in the next couple years, they'll be in their early teens. If you were to sit down with them right now, or in a couple years, I should say, when they're teens, what would you tell them that they need to know, or skills that they would need to develop to be successful as an entrepreneur in these times?
Okay. We actually, Noah and I just had a conversation the other day because he wanted some fingerboard grind rails, which is kind of a fad that's already gone, so they're hard to find. So I said, well, we can build these, and if you like how they turn out, you could start selling them on eBay. So I try to take opportunities as they come along to show them how the things they're interested in could be turned into a business. They could make whatever they're passionate about, which is important when you're starting a business, to be passionate about it, to take that and turn it into something that could provide them income and support their families down the road.
Ev, as you hear him talk about these things, what's going on in your head right now?
Thinking about fruit baskets.
Okay, go into that. Why? Isn't he awesome?
He's awesome, yes.
All right, why are you thinking about fruit baskets?
I'm thinking about fruit baskets because when I was younger, you had to sell fruit baskets.
I did. Yeah. Do you remember how old you were back then?
I don't remember how old I was, but I feel like I was like 5.
You were probably 5, 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I wanted them to do something entrepreneurial. And so right before the holidays, I had all 4 of the kids. So if you were 6, let's say 6 or 7, that means Annika was a year less than that, and Zach was 3 years older than that, right? So, I mean, they were all really young. 4 years old? 4 years older than that. So we went out, and I had them take orders. They had to ask for the order. We made the fruit baskets, and when we delivered, I made them be the person who asked for the money. Because back then, what I realized is a lot of people have great ideas, but they're afraid to ask.
Yeah.
1, for the sale, and 2, for them to get paid.
Yeah.
Like they get uncomfortable around that. And so I was hoping that it would make them more comfortable. Did it make any more comfortable, or what did that do? What did you, I guess, pull away from that?
I noticed that I am comfortable with reaching out and telling people what I'm doing and saying, if you're interested, definitely contact me.
Yep.
And I'm also comfortable with asking for money to the point of, leave me alone, I'll give you money at some point.
I think I've been on the other side of that. Absolutely. You've asked me, and I've said, just leave me. No, that's not true. You don't ever ask for money, which I love. So
now the question is, out of that whole ordeal, did you get any of the money, or was it pretty much just child labor and he was pocketing
we got the money. Yeah,
Thanks,
we actually made quite a bit off of it. Yeah,
they made a lot of money.
Did they?
I think by the time they were done, each of them, and there's 4 of them, I think you all probably got $400 or $500 a piece.
Oh my
by the time they were done.
Wow.
I mean, this wasn't like a little rinky dink. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
We have pictures where the whole bottom floor of our house is filled with fruit baskets ready to get delivered. Oh yeah,
it was big. We went to. I remember going to get bananas.
Yep.
And we walked into the huge freezer at the farm.
Yep.
And we had to get like 5 cases of bananas
At the wholesaler. Yeah, at the wholesaler. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm glad that you remembered that, because that was one of the reasons why I did it back then, was to kind of help you guys get exposed to that kind of thinking. So
yeah.
But well, let's go. So earlier in this conversation, Jamie, you said about how you're distracted by a lot of different things, right? You like to try this and try that, and it kind of wears out. When you're focused on one thing, it kind of gets tiring after a while. So what are some of the distractions that as an entrepreneur that you have to kind of protect yourself against, whether it's business, whether it's entertainment? Do you find that there's some things that are harder to protect yourself from than others, or what do you think on that?
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. Some people have a tendency to enjoy watching movies or TV, so that could be their excuse for, I don't have any time to start this business venture. I think for me, my distractions are sometimes can be prioritizing, because I have my main business, which provides the income, and then all these other projects that are at different levels. Not prioritizing what really needs my time and attention and what I can delegate. So I've gotten a lot better at that in these last 2 months. And then beyond that, distractions can easily be all the social media. I'm for all the different businesses we use social media to try to promote what we do. But it can also suck you in down to some rabbit trails that very easy waste 10, 15, 20 minutes. So
15, 20, an hour can
That's
disappear.
short. Yeah.
You turn on Candy Crush, forget about it. You just lost
yes.
Tuesday.
I had to delete Candy Crush.
I don't
off
have it
my
anymore
phone.
either. I had to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Today, actually, I was working on some school.
Yeah.
And I had to check something on email, I think. And I got an email from YouTube.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, that's cool. So I went on YouTube and I spent probably 2.5 hours watching videos on YouTube. And I was like, wait, I have to do school.
Yeah. What's the biggest distraction for you, Evan, about in your day when you're doing schoolwork or working on business projects or whatever it is? What's the one that kind of gets you your soft spot?
I would have to say the thing that distracts me the most is actually myself.
Okay.
Like my mind runs at 4,000 RPM.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I can be looking at one thing to thinking about 4 different things within a second. So it's hard for me to stay focused.
Yeah.
So, but I can go on Instagram and be on there for 3 hours. I can go on Twitter, be on there 3 hours. YouTube, I could be on there all day. And Facebook.
Yeah.
Like it all just kind of
Yep.
goes forever. So
I'm the same way. It's going nonstop. In fact, I think of a thought and I'm like, oh, I got to do that. And then by the time I go to do it, I'm like, what did I think? I can't remember because I thought 5 thoughts since then.
Yeah.
You know? So, well, with all the distractions, Jamie, here's a question for you. Has there ever been a time that you regret that you weren't paying attention?
Ooh. Yes, I think there has been. Not necessarily in any sort of educational format or that sort of thing. I shouldn't say this, but I think the greatest lessons that you'll learn are outside of your educational institutions, both high school and college and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the times that I think I actually regret not listening or not paying attention would be those opportunities, especially earlier in my life when I was working alongside somebody who had a great business acumen or just had a lot of wisdom, whether if it was business related or not, just a lot of life wisdom.
Right.
And I didn't take opportunity to listen or to even ask more questions.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Ev, how about yourself? Can you think of a time when you just regret that you weren't paying closer attention?
the biggest one that stands out is probably Spanish class.
Okay.
She was talking about the final exam.
Yeah.
And I zoned off on a Spanish poster that was on the wall. And then the bell rang, and I realized I missed the entire class of review.
Oh no! Oh no!
So
wow. Well, when I think back, there's two parts of that for me. I think that some of the times that I wasn't paying attention, I don't know what happened, so I don't know if I can regret it because I wasn't paying attention.
There you go.
But I can tell you, though, that one of the things that I wish that I had taken the time to absorb more was when all of our kids were babies. Because at that stage in our life, I was working full-time. I was trying to build businesses full-time. I was worried about bills, and I was just going 100 miles an hour. And some of that stuff, I think that I was so preoccupied with building a career that I didn't go slow enough to remember every little tiny moment, you know, like my wife got to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And I don't know, maybe that's just me being not retrospective. It's introspective, thank you. But I wish that I had, if I were to do it all over again, I would go a lot more slower, and I'd be happy living on ramen noodles and baked beans for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah.
You know? So that's something that I wish I paid more attention to.
Yep.
You know? But very good. Well, the last thing that I want to bring up is, so I went to a parent-teacher conference with my daughter, and while we were there, the teachers said she was doing a great job, and they said something about how if she applied herself even more, that she would be like an A-plus student. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So ever since then, I came home, and I said every single day now, she says to me, or I say to her, have you applied yourself today? So I want to ask you this question. Jamie, have you applied yourself today?
Ooh. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go with yes. I have definitely.
Yeah, we got to say yes,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Evan, have you applied? Well, he was on YouTube for 2.5 hours.
No, he did not apply himself well.
But
Yes.
before that, I was taking pictures, practicing my photography.
Okay.
And then after that, I was setting up to record.
Yeah.
So
So you did.
We'll give him a B- on that.
I
then.
think we
I'll
should
take a B-.
A B- on applying yourself.
Yeah.
I love it. So it's a great question, and I think we really should think about that every day. Is are we applying ourselves? Or are we letting time go by without using the time that we have?
Yeah,
You know,
great
and
question.
being aware of that. So fantastic. Well, that's another wrap for another episode 11. I want to thank you again for joining us.
Hey, anytime.
Always fun hanging out with
Yes,
you, for sure.
definitely.
And I want to remind everybody that you can go on our show notes and see some links for things that we've mentioned on there. And I really want to invite you guys to join us on our Facebook group. We have a Facebook page, but we now started a Facebook group that's a little bit more interactive, easier for you guys to submit show ideas or comment on things that we've said. So I really want you guys to come join us on there. It's a little bit more community than the page is. So it's great being with you. Ev, anything to close us off with?
No?
No? All right, guys. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
See ya. Remember, we're on iTunes and Stitcher. And as always, thanks for being awesome.